Hello, everybody. Welcome. Before we start our webinar today, please type into the chat where you're calling in from and what region you belong to. So if you're just now joining us, welcome, welcome. Please type into the chat where you are calling in from and what MFLC region you belong to. Hey, I see that Kelly is from Maryland. We've got someone from Virginia Beach, Fort Dixon. All right, we've got someone from Eglin and Pensacola, Fayetteville, someone from Region 2, Georgia, New Jersey, North Carolina, Delaware, Florida, Fort Stewart, Belgium, Fort Liberty, Jacksonville, North Carolina, Milton, Florida, West Virginia, Belgium, Maryland, Crestview, Florida. It is wonderful to know that we have MFLCs from all around the world. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to close the chat feature for now. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to our MFLC monthly webinar series, a webinar hosted by the MFLC training team and our MFLC regional supervisors. It's nice to meet you. I'm Kathy Hadley Wilson, your MFLC training specialist, and with me today is Christy Gardner, our Director of Learning and Development. Together, we will be your hosts for today's webinar. I'd like to introduce you to our special guest presenter for today's webinar. We have Regional Supervisor Tanya Nascimento from Region 3. Tanya will talk to you today about self-care, as well as resources you can use for your clients to promote self-care. In this presentation, Tanya will define self-care, address holiday stress trends, give you the process of self-care using the care model, and Christy will wrap up with stress busters, MFLC resources, and the support you can use for self-care. We aim to have a small amount of time at the end of our webinar for live questions and answers using the Q&A feature. Remember, webinars are different from regular team meetings. You will not be able to share your camera or unmute yourself, but you will be able to enter questions at the end of today's webinar. Please remember that your own regional supervisor is the best source of information when it comes to specific questions related to your unique assignment. All right, now, Tanya will talk to you about all things self-care. Welcome, Tanya.
Thank you, Kathy. I am Tanya Nascimento, Regional Supervisor for the school and CDC MFLCs associated with Eglin and Hurlburt Air Force Bases in the Panhandle of Florida. As we enter the holiday season, we are surrounded with holiday spirit, holiday songs, holiday joy, and holiday stress and consumerism. It seems like a good time to revisit the topic of self-care. Self-care often looks different from what many might expect. It's not just about indulgences like bubble baths, sweet treats, or expensive gifts. At its core, self-care means taking care of yourself. It isn't something you earn or deserve, nor is it simply about fulfilling immediate desires or giving into consumerism. Self-care shouldn't be a last resort for when you're completely exhausted. Instead, it's about sustaining your overall wellness in the long term. Sometimes this means making difficult choices, such as seeking counseling to address personal issues, managing your finances and time wisely, distancing yourself from toxic relationships, disappointing others when necessary, making sacrifices, letting go of unrealistic expectations, and prioritizing what truly needs to be done each day. Ultimately, self-care is about maintaining your well-being. And as author Brianna West said, it is building a life you don't need to regularly escape from. For those in the helping professions, it's especially important to reflect on how to maintain your own well-being, to prevent compassion fatigue and burnout. So what do you currently do? Go ahead and type it in the chat what you do for self-care.
While we're waiting, Tanya, what's your favorite self-care?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'll share some later, but I just deep breathing throughout the day. I like to swim, but we all have our favorite exercise, dancing. I love ballroom dancing.
Ooh, I make stained glass.
Oh, I love that.
Read novels.
And I'm a runner.
Lovely.
You're a runner. Massage, walking with a dog, walk at the park, cleaning. Ooh, I love that one. Watching my favorite movie, meditation. Take a day
you're
off.
on a roll. Yeah.
Reading, praying, gym, crochet, massage, woodworking, ice cream, painting, jigsaw puzzles, Lego sets. Oh my gosh. Look at all these awesome ideas.
That is so fun. Thank you, Christy. Some great ideas. This presentation will provide an overview of self-care that you can use to reflect on your own existing practices and perhaps tweak them to be more effective. This same process can be used to guide those you work with. As the holidays approach, self-care becomes more important to put into place. You might recognize this in your own life. Perhaps you were overwhelmed with all the activities and opportunities to support various events and causes. You may have more events and activities in your own family, or be planning how to spend the holidays and navigate those relationships. You might be more financially strained this time of year. Perhaps those stressors are present in those you are helping, and their stress and increased need is affecting you. All those stressors you experience in your own life due to the holiday season are likely also present in the lives of those you serve, as well as some unique to military life, some of which are included on this slide, such as stress with handling all the items, especially without the help of a partner or spouse, and also worry about and missing a deployed spouse. This is a great time of year for CYB MFLC to support and comfort children and youth who are experiencing holiday-related stressors. Here's an example of support. At an elementary school, a student in a lunch bunch group shared her daddy would be overseas for Christmas. This was upsetting to her, but her MFLC introduced her to several other students who also currently had a dad deployed or had had a parent gone for Christmas in the past. They shared their disappointment, but also shared how they stayed connected and how they celebrated in a different way when the parent came home. Simply knowing other children experience the same thing can be comforting. The MFLC for this particular student encouraged her to share her disappointment with her parents. And as a result, the parents arranged for her to celebrate with dad before he left. If a parent is deployed during the holidays or soon after, it can be especially hard. If you missed last month's webinar, be sure to check out the recording because it had some practical resources to help military families with the stress of the holidays. The OSD presentation library has several great presentations and handouts for self-care, but the one that addresses self-care most directly is the Adapting Health and Wellness presentation. This is a slide and handout from the Adapting Health and Wellness presentation. ADAPT is a great acronym for helping military members move into action with their self-care. It starts with A and D that focuses on relationships first. It gets people to focus on what they can and cannot control and to build support networks. The next three, A, P, and T are about creating habits that fit wellness goals and then developing strategies to put them into place. Adapt to maintain wellness. The acronym I created to use today is CARE. What does it mean to care about yourself? Like the last acronym, this one is a step-by-step process. First, C is for connection. We need to build those connections, those relationships. Second, A is for awareness. We need to increase our internal awareness. R is for routines. We need to create and stick to routines that help us sustain wellness. And lastly, E is for exploration. We need to develop a sense of exploration and put it into practice. So let's start with C for connection. Did you know that stress in our lives can affect us biologically? Social connections initiate the release of an enzyme that slows down aging at the cellular level. Nurturing social connections reduce stress, help others, and may lead to a longer life. But when we are hurting, we humans tend to do the opposite. We tend to isolate, withdraw, or hide. This is one reason why being an MFLC is such an important job. Because you are on site building relationships, you are in a prime position to provide support for military members. Because they already know you. You may be the safe person they have to share with when they might have otherwise isolated themselves. If you're in the schools, you can notice and reach out to children when they act out or withdraw. You're there when they might not have asked for help. This is why connection is the first step for self-care. To help others build that community, think about how you can introduce them to existing groups. In the schools, this may mean suggesting after-school clubs or introducing new military students to others or helping them find a seat at lunch. An example for adults is suggesting spouses join key spouse or key support programs and go to support events on the installation, or referring families to military and family readiness or MWR, morale, welfare, and recreation. And for you, the time for seeking connection and building relationships is before we need to lean on them or ask for help. It is during the time we have the capacity to be the help. Another point here is that MFLCs are typically the only one at a particular location, and they are not supposed to blur boundaries with the people around them. That can feel isolating. This is why healthy work relationships with other MFLCs and social connections outside of work are so important. Do you remember Maslow from Intro Psych in college? Abraham Maslow is well known for his studies on human needs. He determined several basic needs. After our basic needs of air, food, water, shelter, provision, social belonging or connection is our next most foundational need. Speaking of Maslow, Dr. Barry Kaufman suggested a sailboat metaphor rather than a pyramid to represent the way needs motivate us, and I have created my own version of it here. Maslow never intended his theory to be about climbing a pyramid as if we level up as we meet our needs. Rather, our needs are integrated, but with two main areas: the deficit or security needs that must be firm, shown here as the boat, and the growth needs that motivate you forward, shown here as a sail. The idea is if you ignore the security needs, you will find you are not able to function at your best, and your boat may start to sink, meaning you will be forced at some point to pay attention to your needs if you do not address them early on and have regular maintenance. You may need to eat, get better rest or sleep, exercise, and so on. Or you may need to seek connections and increase your sense of belonging, as we just talked about. You might need to work on insecurities and self-confidence. This is building a sturdier boat and making sure you are secure no matter how rough the waves of the day become. Consider, what is the smallest change you can make that would have the biggest impact on your well-being? I'm going to say that one more time. What is the smallest change you can make that would have the biggest impact on your well-being? What do you need to pay more attention to in order to make sure you are not constantly bailing out your boat? Those questions lead us to awareness. After connection, the next step is awareness, self-awareness. What are your periods of peak energy? Throughout the day, our energy levels fluctuate. The first step to effective self-care is to become aware of your natural rhythms so that you can manage them and make the most use of your time. Although there are typical energy rhythms that change as we age, each person is unique. Pay attention to when you experience energy peaks and dips throughout the day. Most people tend to have higher energy in the morning and early afternoon, followed by a decline in the late afternoon or early evening, but your pattern may vary. Try to schedule challenging tasks during your peak energy times. Use periods of lower energy for routine or less demanding tasks, like Care 4 entries. Sometimes your daily schedule won't align perfectly with your energy levels, but being aware of this can help you navigate your day more effectively. You can also incorporate strategies to boost your energy during low energy times that require more focus. For instance, if you have a family session scheduled when you feel fatigued, a quick walk around the building or some energizing breathing exercises can help refresh you. How do you spend your time? Effective time management begins with understanding how you spend your time. As an MFLC, this might involve knowing when to step away from an unproductive conversation with a teacher or when to conclude a couples session. It can also mean entering Care 4 throughout the day instead of waiting until the end. Many MFLCs create daily or weekly routines that provide structure, ensuring there's always a designated place to be, unless called elsewhere. These routines are flexible, but help increase overall productivity by minimizing wasted time figuring out what to do next. In those moments when you're uncertain about your next steps, it can be helpful to ask yourselves a series of priority questions. Number 1, is there someone I can consult with or a location I can go to support? Second, can I set up a counseling session for someone or find a place for outreach that could lead to counseling? And also, how can I position myself to be the most visible and accessible right now? If you can effectively manage your time and energy, your stress levels will also be more manageable. Besides awareness of energy levels and how to spend your time, it can be helpful to assess various areas that need regular maintenance to promote more holistic self-care and build balance into your life. This handout from the Work-Life Balance Navigating Priorities presentation clearly outlines 7 types or areas of self-care. At the bottom of the handout, you'll find safety and security. And just above that is social and relational self-care. These categories align with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They make up the boat in the sailing metaphor. In addition to these security needs, the handout addresses spiritual, intellectual, physical, and emotional self-care, all of which are essential for maintaining a balanced life. By honing in on a specific area that may be lacking, you can create a targeted approach to self-care, especially in times when work or other responsibilities feel overwhelming. This tool can be particularly helpful for helping others select an area to focus on and helping them form a more holistic approach to self-care. R is for routines. Once we have awareness within each self-care category and know how to be intentional about our time and energy, we can set up routines. The benefit of routines is that we no longer have to put mental energy into making sure we take care of ourselves. We just do. Routines are essential to self-care because they provide structure and predictability, so we can better allocate time for it and ensure it doesn't get overlooked amid daily demands. Healthy habits like regular exercise and mindfulness practices, as well as these listed on the slide, enhance overall well-being by boosting mood and resilience. Routines allow for regular reflection and adjustment, helping us adapt our self-care practices to better meet our needs, especially during stressful times. Maybe students need help thinking of what they can do for self-care. As part of stress management or wellness presentations, you can have students generate a list of ideas. Emphasize that the activities they most enjoy were likely the ones they did in their free time when they were young. And now that they are middle or high schoolers, the responsibilities of school and work have taken priority. Can they make time again for outlets they most enjoy? What are they? Are these activities actually enhancing their well-being, or are they escapes from facing life's challenges? How can they build routines to incorporate healthy outlets back into their lives? This past February, a CYB MFLC had military middle school students create a self-care door with ideas for managing stress, and she challenged the students on a weekly basis to pick one to complete. The board was right in front of the entrance of the hallway, so kids would stop by in the morning and choose their self-care idea for the day or week. She said they would talk about why they chose it and why it might help them in their day-to-day life. Self-care does not have to mean adding an activity or outlet, though. Routines may involve short periods during the day to reset. Listed on the slide are examples of ways to reset. If it is hard to remember to do these at first, then using habit stacking may help. Let's say you want to remember to log in. So you form a habit of logging in whenever you park at the school, CDC, or building on installation. Then you could link a self-care habit to the login habit. Let's say you want to remember to relax your shoulders and take deep breaths, and maybe say a prayer or clear your mind before walking in. So right after seeing the confirmation for logging, you do this reset routine. Maybe you link this routine to every time you complete a Care 4 entry, or every time you're about to start a session. By linking the reset routine to existing habits, it makes it easier to remember. You can use this simple habit stacking tip to enhance your overall well-being over time. It is also a great tip to pass on to others who perceive lack of time as an obstacle to self-care. In case students or military members are not sure what a reset routine may look like, these OSD presentation handouts may be helpful. They show grounding techniques that are simple and quick, easy to start implementing into the day. They can be used as part of a regular routine or whenever the person has awareness of becoming overwhelmed. Peace does not mean to be in a place where there is no noise, trouble, or hard work. It means to be in the midst of those things and still be calm in your heart. Right now, in your car, or whatever spot you found to be with us today, inside or out, go ahead and take a deep breath in through your nose. And release. Exhale. Again, inhale, this time lifting your shoulders to your ears and tensing your neck and shoulders, your back. And relax. Exhale. Let your shoulders fall away and down to the side. Go ahead and relax your gaze, or even close your eyes if it's safe. And imagine the color of calm. On your next breath in, breathe in the color of calm. Imagine it filling your belly and spreading throughout your body as you breathe deeply and slowly. In calm, out, release tensions. In calm, and long, slow exhale out, sinking into your seat. How does your body feel now? How's your stress level? Nothing around you has changed, but you have. There is still noise, trouble, and hard work to face. The waves are rough, but you are a strong and sturdy boat. You have all the needs met to secure a strong boat. So when the storms pass, you can unfurl the sail and go. You can grow. I would like to add to Kaufman's theory that good sailors have a direction they want to go, a direction they want to grow in. Thus, you don't just open your sails and let the wind take you wherever. You need to have a why, a personal reason for the work you are doing. And hopefully that aligns with the company you work for. Magellan's mission statement is to lead others to happier and more vibrant lives. Magellan Federal has 6 core values. Do you know what they are? Does Magellan's mission statement and values align with yours? If so, take care of your needs and set your sails to fulfill this mission. Thus, the last step in the process of self-care is E for exploration. Exploration is daring to choose the unknown, a desire to learn and understand, and curiosity about others and the world we live in. It is openness to new experiences and high stress tolerance to better manage uncertainty. Exploration leads to resilience and meaning making. Exploration allows for creativity because of the ability to generate new ideas and solutions. It increases individual insights into strengths, increases self-awareness, and enhances social connections. Exploration brings joy to the everyday. It makes the MFLC work even more fun. With a solidly built boat to manage the stormy seas of life, self-care can become about exploration. Exploration enriches self-care practices by promoting personal growth, creativity, and connection, ultimately leading to a more fulfilling life. Here are 2 more ideas for school MFLCs to incorporate self-care into your work with students this season. Winter break is a long time away from the support and structure of school. One CYB MFLC at an elementary school worked with students to create self-care boxes. These are white takeout containers that can be decorated with reminders for self-care routines. You can see in the picture one student drew a reminder to eat fruits and vegetables rather than a lot of candy, and another drew exercising. These boxes were then filled with symbolic or useful items regarding self-care, such as fidget sticks, small bubble bottles to practice deep breathing, a small journal, favorite long song lyrics, affirmation notes, and so on. The holiday season is also testing season for students. In middle school and high school, the students often congregate outside testing rooms just prior to their test start. This presents an opportunity. CYB MFLCs can create stress buster boxes that have stress balls, fidgets, pinwheels to practice breathing, stickers or small strips of paper with positive messages, and more. They can carry these into the gathering crowd of students and ask who would like to try out a stress buster. Once a student engages, the CYB MFLC can help students explore different options for quick stress resets and explore different perspectives, helping the students start incorporating self-care into their school days. In conclusion, when assessing your own self-care or supporting others in assessing theirs, it may be helpful to think of the acronym CARE. Start with connection, develop awareness, create routines, and then spend time with exploration. Implementing the practice of self-care into your daily life will allow you to focus on the mission and better help others with developing their self-care. As the holidays approach and stressors may be high, keep in mind these principles and resources, and you may be just the connection someone needs to get started on a path toward better overall well-being. I will hand it over to Christy for a couple fun activities you can practice right now.
Thanks, Tanya, for connecting everyone to those wonderful resources. And I really enjoyed the CARE model. A couple of things that Tanya talked about in CARE that we are going to practice together right now is connection and awareness. So a couple of stress busters that'll get you through this busy holiday season to complement connection and build awareness. We're going to try on right now. So I invite you, if you're not driving, to take a moment and just try a couple of these practices with us and see how you feel. The first one is the figure 8. So if you have done this exercise with me before in the past, or tried it from our D&I presentation, I'm going to invite you to give yourself time and space to just connect right now. And we're going to practice drawing a figure 8 with the very tip of your nose and your eyes open. Try to draw a tiny figure 8 like you would draw it on a foggy glass window, just with your nose, or like the shower door, a tiny figure 8. And if you're drawing it up and down, try drawing it sideways. And if you're drawing it sideways, try drawing it up and down. All right. So notice how you feel. Do I feel any different in this moment than I did 30 seconds ago? That tiny figure 8 is a vagus nerve reset. So you can also do it by drawing a figure 8 on a piece of paper and following your finger. You can move your arms in a figure 8. If you have kids that like to move, you can even stand up and move your hips in a figure 8. But it's this eye movement following that, which helps to reset your vagus nerve. All right. We're going to try a second one. It's called Triple Warmer Smoothie. And it's a quick reset that goes over different meridians of your body, kind of help you to realign your energy. So we're going to warm up our hands. Ooh, shake out any of that stress from the day. Get those hands warmed up. Okay, and then we're going to place our fingertips in the middle of our forehead and bring our fingers across our forehead, down past our temples to the top of our ears, and then around the back of our ears and down to our necks. Give yourself a little shoulder rub there, and then come over the front of your neck to your chest. And you end with your hand resting on your chest. We're going to try that one again. Fingers across your forehead, over your temples, down around the back of your ears, down your shoulder, over. I like to do that one 3 times. Just helps me feel a little bit better. Maybe you liked that. Maybe you didn't. I got that from Donna Eden. She's on YouTube if you want to learn more about the triple warmer smoothie. And we're going to end with our nice butterfly hugs. So everybody give yourself a big hug. Cross hug here. Oh, squeeze. And then we're just going to go right, left, right, left. And just try for 30 seconds. So we all know this is that bilateral stimulation, right? Which helps our vagus nerve and our nervous system feel like it's safe and calm so we can get back into our parasympathetic nervous system. So there you go. 3 fun stress busting tools. Maybe one of them you liked. Maybe you can try a few of them on. Tanya took us through a nice deep breathing and visualization. So that's 5 solid tools that y'all can use with your clients. Of course, these are evidence-based tools for relieving stress and promoting relaxation. Wonderful to use with clients. Now, Tanya also discussed tracking some of your participants. So you might need to know when they might need a little extra support. Here on the screen, you can see the DHA, or Defense Health Agency flyer. You can find this handout. You can search online for it, but we'll send it out after this presentation. And we'll place it on the website under clinical resources, resources and referrals from A to Z. That's where we'll put it today, but we'll also send it out in an email. And I really love this handout because it shows what kind of issues and where military members can refer clients or can refer folks, right? So this is a great tool to use when you're doing consultations or outreach this month to help others understand this model of green to red. And it also has some common concerns to look for. You as an MFLC are mentioned in the green and yellow areas here on this handout. So some of the feelings that are listed under yellow are anger, frustration, relationship difficulties, stress, and life transitions. So these are great areas to talk about as you are out there consulting, talking with teachers, talking with your units, talking with your commands, to talk about what some military families may be experiencing this season. And you may want to find ways to track folks so you can jump in with some of these supports we've mentioned, some stress busters, or even the presentation activities like Tanya mentioned. When you see people or units or classrooms that may look like they're experiencing some of these issues, you can just say, hey, I noticed we might be having some extra stress this holiday season. How about I bring in this presentation handout and we practice some of these grounding exercises? Wonderful opportunities here, okay? For all of you personally, I like using this chart. It's based on the Marine Stress First Aid Model and Firefighter First Responder Model. And I like to look at this and say, where am I on this chart? Where am I? Where am I at work? Where am I at home? Where am I when it comes to my relationships? And when I identify and have awareness about where I am, how can I communicate about my needs? How can I help other folks become more aware of where I am today, right? You may also be able to see where some of your kids or teachers or unit leaders, soldiers, Marines, airmen, guardians, and sailors are this time of year. And it's helpful, as Tanya said, to be able to insert some short, simple tools for yourself. If you find yourself making it over to that yellow, orange, red side of the slide, and look at how you can support yourself and your colleagues. Maybe notice that you're feeling more like you're surviving. How can you support yourself as you walk into the school or into the installation today? How can you help students or families at your installation if they may be in this yellow surviving mode? So let's just take a moment to take a deep breath in, and then take a second deep breath in and release. I can give you a copy of the DHA. Absolutely. That will be coming out to you. And we can give you all this handout as well. Now, there is a new presentation flyer handout. It didn't make it into our slide deck right now, but excitedly, everybody, if you are looking at ways to get out some more information, there is a new presentation handout. You all should have gotten that. It's available on Military OneSource. It's also available on our website under briefings and presentations, OST presentations. There's a button to click for the presentation flyer. So if you're looking to get some information out to your POCs, go ahead and get that flyer, or I think you can share it also through the Mill app provider on your phone. Share it. It has a bunch of the topics that the presentations are on. So you can say, here's all the topics. They don't have the titles of the presentations. It's just the topics that they cover to say, do you think any of these topics, because of what we're seeing on this chart, might be applicable and that I can help you with? So we'll let you know where that flyer is coming out in our follow-up email today. Now, I just want to remind everyone about Embrace. This is a wonderful tool that you all have as MFLCs. Embrace is a portal, your one-stop destination for well-being and support resources provided for MFLCs. With Embrace, you can access counseling and well-being coaching. You can get work-life services. You can take a well-being survey to kind of help you figure out where you're at. And there's a lot of community resources there. Additionally, the portal features a wide range of trending resources, such as monthly learning events to explore live webinars or recordings, newsletters with topics that are tailored to some of your needs, and self-care tips for caregivers. It also has tools for managing finance and well-being during the holidays. So to get started, simply log into your Okta dashboard and look for the Embrace tile as shown here on the left. All right. That's a great resource for you all. That's where you can get your EAP counseling and all of those things if you need a little more support this holiday season. And we also have a course, Pro 101, our Resilience and Self-Regulation course. It's an essential resource for MFLC counselors, and it's available anytime. Self-paced, asynchronous, on your own learning opportunity, designed to introduce concepts from the self-care toolkit. It allows counselors to learn at their own pace and gain practical tools for resilience and self-regulation. And you can access this course through the MFLC program training section. You can, when you go to the MagellanMFLC.org website, you scroll down to the command center and where you can click on this MFLC program trainings button. Once you get into the training portal, you want to click on professional development courses, MFLC professional development courses, and there you will see Pro 101. So it's a great time to invest in your personal and professional growth, practice some of those care skills like Tanya taught us, and take time this holiday season to check out that course. Then I'm going to remind you all about the Self-Care Toolkit, which is a valuable resource designed to equip you all with tools and recommendations for supporting the military community effectively. This toolkit has three main components: the self-care handout, which has practical strategies for managing stress and maintaining well-being. It also has the holiday stress slick, which is focused on navigating and managing stress during this holiday season. And then we have MFLC best practices for gratitude. So some evidence-based CBT gratitude practices and guidance on cultivating gratitude and promoting resilience. So wonderful toolkit. You can access it on MagellanMFLC.org under self-care, documents and forms, clinical resources, self-care toolkit. So this resource empowers you to make a positive impact while maintaining your own resilience and well-being. Is there a new stress during the holidays presentation? No, but I would recommend taking some of those ideas that Tanya gave you. Remember, the new presentation library is not like tiny focused in on things like stress during the holidays. It is a bigger, sort of more broad presentation list. So Tanya mentioned a few that have different tools, different handouts that you can use to address stress, but you would be using a slide or a handout or an activity instead of presenting the old presentations, right? OSD has given us a brand new presentation flyer. So they do not want you to be giving the old flyer and using the old presentations. They want you to be using the most up-to-date evidence-based information, which is in our new presentation library, okay? So take one of those presentations and use it to speak to these concepts, even though it's not specifically for the holidays. You can make it about the holidays, right? You just want to present that approved material. Okay. Great questions, everybody. We have a little bit of time and we are opening the Q&A. So if you have a question that we haven't addressed yet, we are super happy to take on any of your questions. And while we're waiting for you all to type in some questions to us, I'm going to ask Tanya, now that we're wrapping up, what's your best advice today for self-care?
Just not to wait. You know, we get so busy and we're constantly pouring into others and investing in other people that we forget to take care of ourselves, or we just keep putting it off. So I challenge everyone on the call to put something into practice today, something small that will make a big impact.
Thanks, Tanya. All right, so she gave you a call to action, everybody.
Let's do it.
Tell us one thing that you're taking away from today. I will open the chat back up if you want to chat us in. What is the one thing that you're going to do today going forward to support yourself and your self-care? Kathy, will you go to the next slide so we can see how to code the meeting?
And Christy, I'll add one thing to the presentation library, that it can seem massive and hard to maybe find if it's not a specific title. So just a tip, the way that I found the resources for today in there is I just did a search for self-care, and it brought up all sorts of ideas from various presentations and made it a lot easier to find what I was looking for.
Thank you, Tanya.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you can search the presentation library for self-care, and that will help you to find all of these resources. We will be sending out an email with a bunch of these handouts. A lot of folks are telling us what their one thing they will be doing today. We know that that's helpful. And if you want to ask a question, the Q&A button might be at the top of your screen. It says Q&A. Maybe it's at the bottom. Maybe it's on the side. Thank you for learning about the new Teams webinar with us today, everybody. It's been so great to have you here. I love seeing all these self-care takeaways: breathing, playing games, going to the gym, indoor walking, walking to my appointment, listening to music, using box breathing, taking moments to reset, becoming more self-aware, getting a facial. Yes, figure 8, triple warmer smoothie. All amazing, everybody. Kathy, what are we going to do to wrap up today?
As a reminder, take a snapshot of this screen to know your cost point code and your Care For entries. Thank you so much for joining us today. Remember, if your question was not answered live today, please reach out to your regional supervisor. Your regional supervisor is always your best source to get clarification and answer assignment-specific questions. Always remember that the training team is here for you. Contact MFLC Training at MagellanHealth.com for questions you might have regarding today's webinar. We will send out an email with a link to complete a survey and a link to the MFLC website to view the recording of today's webinar. Until next time, goodbye.